Best of 5, Protoss versus Terran. Ryung is, of course, our red Terran spawning in the right bottom side of Shakuras, and Liquid's HerO, who had an excellent season in the NASL, was the runner-up of the last season, lost in the nail-biting series to Puma at the Season 2 finals, is our blue Korean Protoss representing Team Liquid. And basically every Protoss player out there, man, in the left top side of Shakuras.
And up in the top,
bottom,
bottom right of Shakuras Plateau is the red Terran player Ryung. HerO, like you said, Kev, had a great season. Our number 2 seed going into the playoffs. He was tied for that top spot, played against Puzzle, I believe it was.
Yes, that's correct.
To determine who is our number 1 seed, and Puzzle managed to just barely beat HerO in a very tight 2-1 best-of-3 series. It was a nail-biter. It was a great PvP.
Yep, well, we said this several times, but if you enjoy PvP, you really want to check out that tiebreaker series between HerO and Puzzle. It was surprising to see those two guys going at it. We said you can play just a best of 1 to see who gets number 1, number 2. We thought it's not a big deal, but for those guys, Ben, it was a big deal. They played a whole best of 3, and they had a 40-minute macro game on Daybreak. But anyways, Ben, that was PvP. HerO finished the regular season, as you said, very high with 7-1. The only loss that he had was against the Muslim, where he lost 2-1. The last game on Ohana was a classic game already as well. We can see, Ben, HerO not dropping the gateway yet, so might even go for Nexus first here.
Yeah, looking like he wants to be very, very economical. Nexus First is an opening that's been getting a little bit more common these days. As Terran openings have gotten more greedy, so too have Protoss openings. I know you've been playing around a bit with Nexus First, Kev. Maybe you could talk to us about how it plays out on a map like Shakuras.
I could definitely do that, but before I do that, I want to tell you guys, these two guys were in the same group in the regular season. It's just a coincidence they met via the seedings that they got once more in the final online round, actually the real playoff round already, the round of 16. That's a coincidence, but when they played, Ben, they played a game on Ohana, and HerO actually went Nexus First into Forge. I'm not sure if you remember that game. Yeah, that was a strategy which was a little bit popular for a short amount of time, and some Koreans are still doing it, but it has its weaknesses as well. And as we can see, HerO is going to drop the gate right now. We can see on the other side of the map, HerO doesn't know this yet though, and this is actually crucial. We always make it sound like the most regular thing in the world, like, oh yeah, it's just macro. But HerO really wants to get the confirmation that he is actually playing against Nexus First, because then you can already eliminate a few of the potential things you have to worry about. And that's why HerO is sacrificing the probe right now. It's super important for him to get the confirmation this command center is there, and he knows.
Yep, he sees it, he knows, and that allows him to sit back and take a sigh and say, all right, let's win in the mid game or even take it to the super late game, Kev. You said that the Forge, Nexus First into Forge builds were popular for a while and that they've fallen off a bit. Why is that?
Not sure. Maybe Terran players got better at hitting certain timings. Maybe the Protoss player just felt that his units were delayed for just a little bit too long. For instance, the strategy that I've been talking about is when Terrans go, let's say 3 Hellions and 8 Meta. Ooh. Ryung, meanwhile, on the right top side of the map drops another command center. But in my opinion, if you go Nexus First and you face a playstyle like elevator drop, let's say 8 Marines in your main base and 3 Hellions in your natural, I think that's very hard to defend already when you go Nexus First, because you have very few amount of units. Imagine if you go Forge before gate, your units are going to be even later, and maybe that's why that has fallen off a little bit, because I think that's almost impossible to defend. You can at least lose 5 to 10 probes, but if it goes wrong, you can lose 15 to 20 and it's game over.
In this case, it's Ryung playing very, very, very greedy, Kev. Third command center hidden up here in the top right-hand corner of Shakuras Plateau. I think the likelihood of HerO seeing this is slim to none, although
it's going to take a little while. HerO is going to drop 2 more gates before he's going to drop the robotics facility. Can't blame him for that. You really want to make sure that you are able to get enough units out in case you face some early crazy pressure. Even though he scouted the command center, he doesn't know how many Rexes are in the main base, how many Marines Ryung really produce. And wow, look at HerO, Ben. This is something that I do think is ballsy. He's even getting the Twilight console before he gets a robotics facility. And that's kind of crazy, because we've seen MMA back then playing quite, and even Puma as well, with that fast expand, no gas, but then into a cloaked Banshee. And if that would have been the case, HerO is going to lose a lot of probes. But fortunately for him, it's not.
It is not the case. I mean, Ryung basically, he can do whatever he wants from here. It's all going to be a little bit slower because he did throw in that fast third command center. 3 command center builds are not uncommon in TVP, not by a long shot.
Wow, HerO is already getting the Dark Shrine, Ben.
I guess that could work out. I mean, Ryung's going to have triple orbital, means he should have plenty of energy for scans as long as he hasn't, just dropped mules when the DTs show up.
Bad.
eBay's also going up for Ryung, so he can build turrets. Oh, wow, this is kind of... ooh, man, this probe is just literally just inches away from being able to spot that Ryung has taken this hidden third base. But HerO has not seen it as yet.
It's really impossible to say how this is going to turn out right now. HerO took quite a bit of damage from these two stalkers, but no big, he didn't take much real damage. Those DTs, if they're going to walk via the front, I don't think they're going to be able to do a whole lot of damage. If HerO somehow is going to get high ground vision, maybe with an observer, wow, Ryung is going to scan right now the main base of HerO, but doesn't scout a whole lot, can't see the Twilight Council, definitely doesn't see the Dark Shrine, and he didn't even spot the Robo. So HerO, what are you going to do? Are you going to try to sneak in a DT via the front and reveal the fact that you have DTs?
He's building a War Prism, Kev, so I think that that kind of reveals a little bit of his intentions. He definitely wants to get DTs up into the main base of Ryung. Ryung's just now starting to add his Starport.
So close, man.
It is ridiculous that HerO is this close to this proxy base but still hasn't spotted it. Of course, why would he go and scout that expansion? He has no reason to think that it might be there.
No doubt that DTs in the main base are going to be annoying. HerO, are you paying attention? Yes, he is on the final moment. Takes a little bit too much damage and even gets greedy, wants to kill the Marine, and he does. There's no detection in the main base, but as you said, Ben, Ryung is on triple orbital, so it's going to be a little bit easier for him this time to deal with some DTs if they go up into the main base. We have two bunkers here as well. I think as long as Ryung doesn't sell them, he's going to be quite cool. Or salvage.
Man, it's so unfortunate for HerO that there's a base literally just a hop, skip, and a jump away from these two proxy pylons, but he is not going to scout it. That probe's even going to come down and go somewhere else.
Ryung's factory is going to spot the War Prism right now, so maybe Ryung has a little bit of extra time. Ryung, yes, he is going to bring his first units right now. Here come the DTs, and Ryung is straight away aware of what's happening. He's going to drop the missile turret instantly. HerO starts focusing his engineering bay, but that's never going to fall.
Yeah, but what HerO did do nicely is he split up those DTs. He's got them all in separate parts of the base, and it's going to take multiple scans to spot them. If he can stop this turret from going up, the turret does complete, and that means Ryung will have full vision of his mineral line. One more DT getting dealt with easily. The third DT going to try and pick off this Tech Lab, and he's going to be successful. No! Tech Lab saved at the last possible seconds. It would have stopped combat shields from completing.
Yes, close call, but you were right, Ben. Ryung did, in the final moment, Ryung did manage to keep the attack back. Like, wow, look at this SV. This SV spinning for his life. SV can finally get out. HerO definitely did some economic damage here, forced a couple of scans, but considering the opening of Ryung, I don't think this was good enough to really justify the DT opening. He wants to drop another DT, we'll pick off one more SCV. How many SCVs went down so far? 7. That's really not a whole lot. Even if this is just a double orbital build, I would say this is not a whole lot. And now against a triple orbital, I really don't think this is enough. Yeah,
you're right. I mean, if HerO had seen this hidden base at some point, then he would have been able to do something about it. But with Ryung easily working on 3 expansions and HerO's third Nexus really just now starting, this is a tough spot to be in. DTs, their DT openings, they kind of do one of two things. They either win you the game or they put you in really uncomfortable positions. And I think in this case, HerO finds himself in a pretty uncomfortable spot because while he is able to harass and be annoying,
wow.
What does he really have on the ground? Like, what does he have that Ryung is scared of? There's 2 Colossi out, and beyond that, HerO's army consists of 8 Zealots and a couple Sentries. It's a very, very small, threadbare force.
Yes, and the first Ru army of Ryung is moving out right now. Is going to pick up the Observer. Was that the only Observer on the map? Yes, it was, because he's using the robotics facility all the time. First for the War Prism, then for those two Colossus. And this is never a comfortable position to be in as Protoss, because Ben, this is the map vision that HerO has right now. How are you ever going to keep track on those medevacts? HerO has to be worried. He's probably going to warp in some Stalkers soon here. I can only imagine, because he has to worry about those medevacts.
He is building a lot of Colossi. That's going to give him some real fighting strength against whatever units Ryung throws at him. But Ryung is going to go ahead and drop this bottom left third base. HerO sitting his main ground force over to deal with it, but at the same time, 3 more medevacs gearing up to unload in the main base.
And HerO has nothing in position, Ben. Ryung is going to be able to do some real serious amount of damage with this. HerO does react very quick. He's going to instantly pull all the probes. Charge is almost ready, but it's not really ready yet. Big warping right there from HerO, but I don't think that's even going to be enough. And wow, HerO is taking so much damage right now.
Yeah, terrible amounts of damage being dealt right now. There is a DT that was warped in, and that'll help. Ryung basically has to scan, and he does end up scanning, and he will kill that DT.
Imagine if he would have picked off the Twilight console.
Oh, he might pick off some Colossi, Kev. No, he's just going to lift up and get out of there. His drop will live to harass another day. Income tab shows us that it's pretty even in terms of harvesters, 69 SCVs to 66 probes, but I mean, when you take into account that triple orbital, this is a little bit better for Ryung. Supply is also better for Ryung. Tech, HerO's tech's pretty good.
It is, Ben. He has the Colossus, he has the first armor upgrade, and the best thing for HerO is that he has good infrastructure. He's already on more than enough gates for 3 bases, but I don't know, he doesn't really have super upgrades. He does have charge right now. Templar Archives is just warped in, so Storm is going to take a little while. I think that the moment that Ryung maxes out, if he then would attack, I think it's going to be very tough for HerO to defend, unless Ryung is just going to sacrifice units like he does right now. He's going to try to pick off a Colossus. Doesn't work.
Yeah, not going to work out. The Viking count's still pretty low, but there is a lot of Marauders on the fields. 14 Marauders. They'll kill Colossi very, very quickly.
But the moment I think HerO would warp in a couple of Zealots over here, Ben, even if it's just to rally them here or to the main base, while he knows that Ryung is out of position, he will instantly spot this base. I think that's the only way that he's going to spot this right now.
It's got to be such a frustrating feeling for HerO, or at least when he watches this replay after the fact. You know he's going to be very annoyed that he did not check for this expansion. He was so close to it.
Poor Marauder, he's like, man, I'm so low on HP. Would you really drop those 2 force fields? HerO's like, yes it does, man. Eye for an eye.
Marauders are dangerous.
Yes.
They're like Tom Cruise.
You might come back all healthy again and try to pick off my Colossus. That Marauder was like, no, I wouldn't. HerO's like, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Can't trust the Marauder.
HerO right now just trying to posture himself in the middle of the map, using this observer to grant him vision over that sight blocker. And
DT, Ben. Yes,
oh,
DT.
Finally.
He is going to spot this refinery. DT is also going to spot the orbital. So this finally, I'm surprised that Ryung never decided to build a single missile turret over here, by the way, while he knows there is a Dark Temple attack. Now HerO is going to be annoying at 2 spots at once. This is going to buy HerO at least the time he needs, man, to really catch up in upgrades and also get Storm out. He does have Storm out, but I'm not sure if he has a lot of High Templars on the map.
Yep, more DTs being warped in off of that pylon just to be as annoying as possible. And Ryung actually has not bothered dealing with the DTs up in this main expansion. He's just going to float it down to, I guess, some low ground somewhere, saying, you know what, I don't really care. I'll just make a planetary and a turret at this low ground expo, and I'll be fine.
If Ryung is going to force the issue right now, and he is maxed out, and that was sort of the window that I was talking about before. He has the upgrade advantage. How surreal is that? Terran being ahead of upgrades against a Protoss player like HerO. 2-2 is almost ready for HerO, but it's not really ready. And if Ryung is going to really move in right now, really going to try to land those EMPs, pick up those pick up those Colossus.
This is so critical, Kev. Terran players always want to fight right when their upgrades finish, because the way the Protoss upgrades, this is really their best chance to do good damage. Storm's going down. Vikings going to make short work of the Colossi. Really good Storms from HerO. These High Templar are absolutely paying for themselves, and Ryung kind of just tanks the majority of that damage. But look at all the Marauders that are still alive. HerO forced to back up into his natural.
Prism fell with 3 High Templars in it. He could have landed so much Storm, and he's not able to land those Storms right now. HerO still trying to hang in there, rallying Zealots down. Here come 2 more High Templars. Oh, HerO miscontrolling those as well. Wow, that might actually be the finishing blow.
I think it will be, Kev. This expansion's going to fall, and there's nothing HerO's going to be able to do to save it. Huge warp in.
15 gates.
And that translates to 15 Zealots. Ryung just going to walk up the ramp and use that position to bottleneck those units and kill as many of them as he possibly can. Vikings even going to land.
I don't like that. You want to be careful with those Vikings. You might want to keep those alive. HerO's going to go for the forward blink, picks off as many medevacs as possible. Is going to pick up most of those Vikings as well.
Wow, that's a pretty good job cleaning up there by HerO, but he still took some significant damage. He's got a 4th Nexus down here in the bottom right. He's rebuilding that 3rd Nexus at that bottom natural expansion. And look at all these gateways that HerO has. This is a freaking gateway.
Yeah, but the economy right now, Ben, of HerO is terrible.
Oh
HerO's only at 700 minerals a minute, which is absolutely nothing in a 20-minute PvP. We can see Ryung has pretty much the entire, his side of the map at least covered. There are still a couple of secret agents behind enemy lines who will eventually be very annoying for Ryung, because well, he does have a planetary here. This is an orbital, he could be annoying here, but I think if Ryung is just going to max once more, Ben, HerO is going to need to do some stuff really well. Sure, all the gateways, they're going to help out a ton, but he's going to need much better Storms.
And what an awkward position HerO's in. His army's down in his 4th expansion. Ryung is just going to walk into HerO's natural expansion kind of uncontested. Or wait, what are you doing, Ryung? Now he scans and finally spots that army.
We have 10 ghosts now as well, Ben, and there are 3 Archons, there is an Immortal, and there are 4 High Templars. If all of those EMPs lands on this Protoss army, Ryung is just going to walk right through it.
Ryung kind of taking his time, going to go ahead and max out before he tries to force a fight somewhere, and he is going to go ahead and confront HerO's army.
Lands the first pretty decent EMPs. Look at all the Archons, Ben. They're so low on HP already. Storm goes down. I hit a couple of snipes as well. I just don't see how HerO can engage this army.
It's going to be almost impossible. He's got no shields left. Those were great EMPs by Ryung, and he's just going to stem and hang. And he's a little bit of scoot and shoot, and he'll deal with these Zealots, but he is going to go ahead and back off. Medivacs doing a good job healing HerO, kind of whiffing that storm. And Ryung just going to continue to pour on the pressure, Kev. 190 supply against 115. That is a substantial advantage for Ryung.
Yep, and all the ghosts are still alive for Ryung as well. It's going to help out. Ghosts behind Marauders are actually able to deal quite good damage against all these Zealots. We see the Zealots just evaporating. One Colossus jumps in. Nice storm right there by HerO, but it just doesn't really matter. Now we see feedbacks going down as well, but Ryung's army is just not dying.
Yeah, you know, HerO really did that as well as he could have hoped. But the truth is, his opening was far inferior to Ryung's opening, and he was just never able to close that gap. I mean, I think you could take the engagements and say that HerO played better, but if you take everything into consideration, if you look at the game on the whole, Ryung's build was better. He got ahead, and he never relinquished that grip on the game.
GG is called. Ryung takes the first map. I partly agree with you, Ben. I think a couple of engagements HerO did really well, but the first real key engagement when Ryung really wanted to fight it and HerO just barely didn't have those upgrades, he lost 4, 5, 6 High Templars, which could have landed storms and didn't.
Yeah,
and then it's just it's a whole different
ballgame. Losing that
ballgame.
Warp Prism was pretty brutal.
Yeah, losing the Warp Prism, that also ended up in him losing that third Nexus, which then forced him to be on 70 pros but 700 minerals a minute, which is just nothing. You could say that HerO got a little bit unfortunate. His opening was all about dealing economic damage, but meanwhile his opponent went for the most greedy economic opening possible. It's kind of like an opening that Cass loved to do, but Cass would just build it in his main base rather than proxy the command center or orbital in this case.
Yeah, and proxying like that might be a little bit better, like it's situationally better, you know, because not only do you hide that third base, but you also hide the build itself, right? I mean, if HerO had scouted the whole main, he might have noticed that there's not as much stuff as he might expect at a certain timing, but he wouldn't have been able to see that command center. So well played there by Ryung in game number 1.
Surprising result.
Yeah, it is a little bit surprising. Ryung goes up 1-0 in this best of 5. That first game brought to us by Epson Projectors. We're going to play a very, very short commercial, and then we'll be back with the second game, HerO versus Ryung, when we get back.